Episode 13, and it's a pretty exciting one because we're about to do our first interview with a couple of super collectors. And first off, of course, I'm joined by Greg. What's up, dude?
Hey, what's up, everybody? Ready to do this today?
Got his White Sox hat on. Thank you for bringing that out. And of course, we've got Ben. Oh, yes. Yeah. We got Ben here as well. What's up, dude?
How you doing?
And he's joined by his partner in crime, best friend, Frank Thomas, super collector. What's up, Dan?
Hey, what's going on, guys?
Thanks for joining us, fellas. Well, it's pretty cool to have you on here because we both had the pleasure of meeting you at the old meet and greet at the National. And yeah, I have to say that was one of the better experiences of the whole thing, was getting a chance to meet you guys. And from the moment, I think after 10 minutes of talking, I was like, we got to have you guys on the podcast. Because the stories were awesome. I know Greg, it was like, yeah, definitely do it. So here you are.
Yeah, any Frank Thomas collector, I'm like, let's talk
yeah. I mean, that's why we have a group, Frank Thomas collectors, and it's real fun to be in those kind of groups,
Well, and it was really cool too.
The secret's out. It's out of the bag now.
Yeah, great. Yeah, no, let's just add 10 more guys to compete for those cards, right? But it was great because, as soon as we started chatting, I mean, Dan, you brought a card to sell to me. You brought us some different cards to show off, and the stories just started going, from the moment we started talking with you guys. So I thought, gosh, there's going to be so many things to talk about on a podcast. And today is that day. So, so you guys, how long have you guys been friends, man? How the heck did you guys end up meeting and becoming collectors together?
Well, we first met up sophomore year of high school. So we had both been collecting previously. I mean, I think I started collecting cards when I was 6 years old. And we lived in the same area a few miles away. So he came, I think, it was a summer before sophomore year. And he was biking through. We had some friends in the neighborhood. And that's what we did back in the day, is we traded cards and opened packs and drove up to rode our bikes up to the supermarket. And so we ended up meeting that summer and completed a couple trades and went on from there.
Yeah, basically just how when we collected back in the day, you'd work on your area of town, where it'd be your subdivision or wherever you lived. And me being a Thomas collector, I had a lot of Griffey collectors, even A-Rack collectors like you. And there was just all these groups of kids who collected different people. So I exercised all the resources in my area. So I had to actually go above and beyond different territories. And Ben lived about 3 miles away from me and in a different subdivision. So we decided to go to his area because a lot of the kids there played baseball. And we played baseball with them through Little League and stuff. So we decided to go to his area. And then found some of his friends that he hung out with. And then we ended up doing trades and deals, even as kids riding our bikes.
That's awesome, man. I mean, I don't know about you. Go ahead, Greg.
Was that a common thing for you guys to ask other people if they collected? Was that one of the key questions you asked kids? Hey, do you collect cards? So you could open up those avenues.
Right. Yeah. It basically was interesting because and mine, I don't know if it was like your neighborhood, but my neighborhood, everybody collected a certain player. So they were all player collectors, whether it be somebody in basketball, football. Mainly I was baseball, and I would just trade my basketball and football cards to get more Thomas cards.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much what we did all summer, is we played basketball and baseball, and everything was pretty much sports related. So then it was only natural that, then we'd bike around and we'd go in the town and buy cards at different shops, and even go into this liquor store we'd go into. And sometimes they give us a hard time going in there because
kids would be 21 and older just to
But they had those King B jerky tins, and you get those King B discs out of there. So we go there for those. We go across the street.
Come on, kids, start chewing tobacco.
Yeah, no kidding.
Go to the gas station across the street to get packs of Fleer. You'd have to go to the grocery store if you wanted Ultra. So yeah, pretty much everything revolved around sports back then, and this was just probably pre-internet days. So that really wasn't an option yet. So you had to go to shops or shows or trade with your friends to get what you wanted.
And just like you guys probably did on the back of Beckett, you'd look and see where all the, card shows were. And
Yep.
so we'd always look at ours, and Ben and I would just go to them all the time. And
bug your parents to drive you and pick you up and all that.
Yep.
Yeah, it was really easy in Alaska. There was only ever one ever, and it was always in Anchorage, which is where I didn't live. So that was easy to figure out.
Sure.
Well, just think how much easier was it as a kid to collect, because you could go to the gas station. My gas station had like X-Men cards. They had baseball cards.
Yep.
Kroger had X-Men cards and baseball cards and football cards. So pretty much everywhere you went was just bombarded with packs of cards.
There were aisles of it.
Where can you find cards at besides Walmart and Target,
Right, yeah.
No, for sure. I mean, even in Alaska, believe it or not, they had, big, huge, like magazine packs, these big fat packs of Score and Ultra and stuff. I mean, and just random gas stations. And this is Soldotna, Alaska, like way up in the middle of nowhere, basically in the north. So they were everywhere. Yeah, that's true. That is pretty cool to see that. I remember meeting people in elementary school. My first question was, "Hey, do you collect cards?" I don't think anybody's talking like that nowadays, unless it's like Pokemon or something. So
it's true. And in the premier cards back then, you buy collector's choice and you hope to pull a gold signature of someone good. But when you talk about top 90s cards, like select certified Muir golds, and I don't think that was even on our radar.
Nope.
I did get Beckett magazine every month, but I guess I saw it in there, but that's something that was so far above and beyond that it wasn't even on your radar. It was just maybe a Topps Gold. You pull a Topps Gold of someone good, or like I said, gold signature, something like that. But a lot of those really top premier cards were just you didn't even know about them yet.
I think Finest and Flair were my big things.
Oh yeah.
If I could buy a pack of Flair,
right,
that was like
over expensive.
Yeah. I never opened Finest.
Flair, I don't even think
Flair was like $5 a pack, if I remember right, or something wrong.
Yep. The packaging was awesome too.
Oh, right.
Yes.
$5 a pack.
The thickest cards back then. 93, I think, is when it started.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but those things are beautiful. They were above and beyond what I'd ever seen before.
To this day, they're one of my favorite base cards.
Yeah, that's going to be a fun episode when we do that. That one's been rolling around in the back of my mind, like best looking base card. I think we all know what we're going to pick because of our podcast name, but it's going to be a fun episode nevertheless to kind of go back and forth.
Sure.
So, Greg, before we get to number 2, I feel like they should tell us, why do you collect who you collect? And then we'll go to the next questions, because we should probably say that, Ben, of course, you collect Barry Bonds, as everybody can see behind you there. Where did the decisions come from to collect, each of your players?
Well, I said I'd been collecting cards since I was about 6, and there was really no rhyme or reason. I just pretty much whatever I get, everyone bought me cards for my birthday and Christmas. And then probably about 12, maybe 11 or 12, you finally learn how to care for your cards and keep them in decent condition. And then about 15, which would have been 1997, 98, when the really big influx of all the new brands came out, I just, it was overwhelming. So I decided I had to kind of focus my collection somewhere. And I decided I'm a player collect. I'm going to pick someone. And I went with Bonds because he was a great superstar, yet not everyone was collecting all his stuff. He wasn't like Griffey and Ripken, where there's already a ton of collectors. So I made the commitment to collect Bonds. So I went through my collection, pulled out 63 cards. So I started at 63 there. And I think just he was a 5-tool player. He's a great player. He hadn't gone on to do what he did a few years later, so he was still under the radar. And it was just someone I felt like I could build a really good collection of, that I was going to have a ton of competition. So I think that was basically my thinking with collecting him.
Awesome.
At that point, did you have like a lot of his inserts and cool cards? Or were you just like getting the base that whatever you had and stuff?
Right. I had 63 cards, so it was primarily base cards. So I was 15 years old at the time. So obviously I couldn't afford anything too high end. Beckett Marketplace was one of the first places I started, and I did a lot of trades through the mail for base cards I needed. I was trading off all my other superstars for Bonds cards I needed. So that really helped me bump up my numbers pretty quick. That was just the beginning days of the internet. So I think Beckett Marketplace was the first place I started online to grow my collection.
How about you, Dan? Like, where did it all get started for you?
Well, card collecting started probably the same thing with Ben. I was 6, 7 years old. Basically, the police departments in the areas, they would have baseball cards in the squad cars with them. So you could actually, go up to a cop and be like, hey, do you have any baseball cards? And they would give you the local Brewer cards for Milwaukee. So they'd give us the Robbie Ellis, Paul Mallers, and we love those guys. They're our hometown guys. And that's kind of how it started for me. And then I didn't start collecting Frank Thomas until 1992. And it was kind of like by accident. It was his Topps rookie card, the Auburn jersey he has when he's posing at first base. I thought I had a valuable card at the time because I think when Beckett was showing the price guides of it, they gave two kind of prices. One was like a $5 price or something like that. The other one was like an $80 price, if I remember right. And what I found out was that the no name technically was that $80 one, but they didn't know how to word it right. So, and I didn't know what I was looking at because 92, I was, 10 years old. So I really didn't know what I was looking at. So I thought, I have a very valuable card. And you come to find out that's not what you really have. You have the regular rookie card, but still at $5 as a kid.
Yeah.
Okay, this guy's pretty good. And I just kind of followed him that whole 92, 93 to 94 seasons. And I started just collecting his cards like mad. And it just became a real fun thing. And then he won the MVP 93 and 94. So that kind of just set me off. And here I am.
That's awesome. I remember that card too. I remember looking at that card. I know, Greg, you remember this for sure, looking at the no name and the Beckett. And we all used to joke, oh, you have that one, you have that one. And of course, none of us had it.
It's funny because you hear all the lies. Oh, my neighbor's got that card. Oh, my neighbor's friend's got that card. Oh, BS, let me see it, and we never saw it, it's okay.
Yeah, it is kind of funny.
I'm actually responsible. Like I had a briefcase and I kept it locked, and I told my buddies I had the valuable Frank, but I would never show it to anyone.
That sounds about right. That sounds like for you. Do you still have it locked up to this day, Greg?
I admitted defeat, and I told everybody I was a liar.
Oh, that's funny.
But it was confusing because it said NNOF, and it really didn't expand on that. So you're like, what does NNOF mean? I don't know. Yeah.
Right, for sure. Before you get to your question, Greg, I got to give a couple shout outs. We got Aaron Davis watching right now. What's up, Aaron? And then, of course, Jude, my former student, is in here. So good to have them in watching. Go ahead, Greg. Where are we going next? A lot of good questions here.
Yeah. So you guys are both like super, super collectors, in my opinion. Like me and Matt are thousands of cards behind you. But one of the things I was wondering is with your collection, do you feel you like lose any kind of excitement with cards? Does it get overwhelming to where it just becomes like routine? You're like, I got another one. Or does every card feel like a present for you guys?
Well, yeah, I think I've been doing it since '98. So it's a slow process, and I think it's rewarding when you get these big cards. I guess everyone goes through lulls, but I would say over the time period, really, I've pretty much been pretty even keel. I've been collecting the entire time. There hasn't been too many breaks for me. In college, I didn't have as many funds. So collecting slowed down, but I don't think I ever stopped. So for me, it's always been exciting. And I think the hunt and the thrill of tracking the cards down is probably the biggest thrill of the whole process. And, I don't know, it's just something. I've always been a big baseball fan, so it just goes hand in hand with collecting. So, but I think the thing is, it can be overwhelming, but you have to set goals, and you build upon previous steps. I mean, when I first started out at 15, I was picking up base cards. I wasn't worried about essential credentials and mere golds and things like that. You pick up what you can in deals, and you move on. And obviously, you kind of come up. You go to school, and you get more disposable income. You can start picking these cards up. And I think it's a process. You can't, if you're someone that's new to collecting, you can't get overwhelmed or compare your collection to someone who's been collecting for 10, 20 years and think that you're going to, get to that level right away. It takes time, and you got to enjoy what you're doing. If you're doing it as a competition or a race, you're going to burn out. It has to be something you have a passion for. So I think, you have to enjoy doing it, and you just have to realize it's a marathon, not a race.
And it's the same thing with me. I mean, we've been collecting basically just as long, and we've looked out for each other too. So even when we got the crazy cards or they'd come in, Ben would be telling me like, "Oh, look what I got," and I'm like, I need the Thomas of that. So now you're looking for that card of Thomas, or vice versa, Bonds in his case. And when we did get it, because we stem off each other and we thrive off it, so we'd always just keep looking at each other's cards, and it just give you more motivation to want to get more or get the same card of that player. And it's unfortunate sometimes some of the stuff I would show Ben that Bonds isn't in some of the sets that Thomas is in, and same with Bonds. Thomas ain't in some of the sets he's in. That's the most miserable part for me, is when I see sets that I love and Thomas ain't in it, and I'm like, well, why wasn't he in that set?
I'm feeling there because I collect Tim Salmon. So you guys,
man,
you don't gotta get us started with that, because he's been. There's a ton of good stuff that he could have been in.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. He was never even voted into an All-Star game, and
really
can't believe that.
It's just
it's
crazy to me. But one of my things I was going to say is, you guys have so many cards. I started back up in 2017, and I bought like 300 base cards at Tim Salmon. And at some point, I was looking at these, and I was like, I don't really feel much for these cards. Like, their base cards are cool pictures, but after you look at 100. They're just base cards. It was hard for me to put like some kind of excitement into them. So that's why I was wondering, for you guys, you have so many, do those cards just seem like binder cards that you don't ever look at, or do you constantly look at your stuff and get excited for base?
Well, I have all my base cards are in binders, and they're organized chronologically. So I guess I don't go through them all the time. But I think it's more, all my cards are kind of tied into memories for the most part. And I think it ties into your childhood. So you can kind of go back and look. And I picked these cards up when I was 14, 15 years old. And then kind of the intrinsic value of a base card versus a high-end insert is just kind of the value it's been assigned based on the scarcity or the popularity of the card. But I enjoy some of the base cards just as much as some of the higher end cards also. So I enjoy that. That's just my makeup. I enjoy collecting. I'm a completist, I would say. I don't focus on a certain era or a certain brand or anything like that. I want all his cards. If he's on, I collect the bobbleheads, the magazines. If he's on something, I want it. And I think that's just kind of the OCD nature of my collection. I like to be a completist.
Yeah. And that's kind of like Ben and we stem off each other when it comes to that too, because I collect everything Thomas too when it comes to bobbleheads. It doesn't matter what it is. If he's on it, I'm like, I'm going to collect it, and we kind of constantly look at each other's collections and just in awe, because, when you're collecting as long as we have, and when we are on eBay and we see something we don't have or ever saw before, it's like, oh, wow, look at that. We haven't seen that before. Where did that come from? And then we got to research, and that's the fun part about it.
Nice.
Well, you guys brought up a good point. You guys have been collecting for so long. Some of these base cards that you're getting do have memories for you. And for me, I collected when I was a kid, so those sets do bring back memories for me. But I didn't get some of those salmon that you got when you had the Bonds or the Frank Thomas. So I can understand how that would have more value for you, because I do remember the sets, but I don't have a memory tied to picking up that base card. So I could understand that.
Right.
That's really good to hear. If I can just say that you have memories attached to base cards, because I think from the outside looking in, people are going to say, well, these guys are super collectors. You know, they got thousands upon thousands of cards of the same guy. Yet, you know, the reason we do this podcast is to appreciate collectors like us and like yourself who haven't lost a love for the simplest of cards. You know what I mean? That you're just not like, it's not just about the number. It's more than that. And I think that's important for people to look at if they ever want to super collect, that they, you know, can have appreciation for the small stuff and for the, you know, golden boss refractors or whatever. Our third question on here is about getting overwhelmed, but you kind of talked about that. So I guess I'll rephrase that. You talked about going on eBay and finding cards that you don't have. I'm curious. My saved searches is only like 20 or something. How many do you guys have like saved searches on your eBay of specific cards, or do you just kind of go on eBay and take a look and see what's up there every day?
I mean, I don't do a save search. I mean, I probably should for certain cards, but I just search it very often. If I have downtime at work, or really I'm just sitting around on the couch or something, I check several times a day. So I pretty much know the big cards I need now. Of course, there's parallels I'm not super familiar with, but if there's something big, of course, Red Crusade or something like that definitely could be saved in the search. But I make sure that I search often, several times a day. So that's pretty much my strategy. I don't do any save searches.
And I'm kind of the same way. I have a few save searches, but by the time those things alert you, it's probably been up there for like 20 minutes sometimes. I noticed that some of those alerts aren't as good as they say they are. And so I look at it as it's a secondary thing to me. But like I think all the rest of us, I mean, we all probably do the same thing, where if you're going on eBay, you're going to look anyways for the new completed, updated listings.
Always, yeah.
Anyways. So it's like, oh, eventually I'm going to go past something that, my save search didn't even catch yet or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I've that's happened a few times. I mean, I've lost cards that way too, where, some guys are just on there seconds before you are, and the post happened, maybe 5 minutes, and you're like, oh, I would have bought that. But
yeah, and it's definitely tough.
Nature of the
the only thing you can hope for in those instances is it being a bid versus the buy it now. Because, if it's a buy it now, you missed it.
Yeah.
If it's a bid, you can at least prepare yourself on what you want to put in.
I paid 3 times that.
yeah.
And that's what you went through, Greg, with your Red Crusade too. I mean, that was something you told me.
6 days to think about it.
Yeah.
6 days to think about what this is going to end at and how much I want to put in. And so every day it's like, okay, 5 days, 4 days, 3 days. So it's good that you have time, but it's in your head.
We all have those memories of sitting there waiting, watching that clicker just go down.
The days before snipe, even.
Yeah. Even my snipe, some of the cards I'll have snipes on, but you guys we're all the same. We're looking still at that clock ticking down to the 1 second where you're like, I'm going to bid in, even though my snipe's going to bid in just to make sure I get this card.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh man!
I only rely on these hands. I will put in my own bid.
Well, I mean,
watch it.
Same here. Yeah, I don't do the sniping stuff, man. I can't do it.
My life's pretty busy, so I mean, yours is too, Ben. So
right.
It's just with how we are. I can't be on the computer or my phone at certain times, so I know I have to have snipes in when stuff ends. It's unfortunate, but.
Yeah, I think the sniping has caused certain cards to go for a little bit more than maybe they should have. But
I agree completely.
Yeah, all right, go for it, Greg. I am excited about this next question, actually.
All right. So have either of you guys ever met your player?
Well, that's an easy question for me. No, I've never met Bonds. He's been retired for 12 years now. He hasn't done any public signings I've known of, at least not outside San Francisco. My plan is I'm hoping he gets in the Hall of Fame on the last year eligibility, which is 3 years from now. And if he does get in, I plan to go there and, book a hotel and see the induction. So maybe that would be a good strategy, maybe to meet him there. I think now that he's retired, I think he's mellowed out a lot more. And I think he's probably up to meeting some of the fans. So I think post-retirement, I think he's a more approachable guy. So I would definitely love to get a picture with him, get an autograph in person.
Yeah.
Definitely something I'd like to do at some point. But no, I've never been – I've seen him on the field. I've been to many games. I actually had a ex-girlfriend back in, I think, 2006. We went to the game, and she actually ran into – he was at a bar club downtown in Milwaukee after one of the games. And I decided my girlfriend was going to go out with her friends. I decided I was going to go home and sleep.
Big mistake.
Man.
So all of a sudden, I'm laying in bed sleeping. It's like 1 a.m, and my phone starts ringing and ringing. And I'm like, who the heck's calling me at 1 a.m? Well,
booty call.
I wake up in the morning. I check my voicemails. Oh, I'm at the club. Barry Bonds is here, and blah blah blah. And I was like, no way. And basically, she talked to one of his, bodyguards or one of his guys, and he was in the VIP section. And then basically they relayed messages, and she was able to get him to sign a napkin, cocktail napkin, on the way out of the club. He wasn't going to sign in there because then he might have got overwhelmed. But he did sign a napkin for her, and I still have that. She gave it to me as a gift. So it's something pretty sentimental because it was in person. But I guess that's as closest I've ever sniffed to actually somewhat meeting him in person. So no, I guess the answer is no so far.
That's cool though.
What about you?
And for me, I haven't actually ever gotten his autograph in person or met him in person. But he's been to Miller Park a few times when he was playing do the interleague and stuff, and he came one time to Miller Park, and I had tickets right by his dugout, and right before pregame I saw him, and I got to talk to him for a quick 10-15 seconds because he was trying to get back into his work schedule, and he saw I had his jersey on, and I had a hat, Chicago White Sox hat, which is rare to see at Miller Park to begin with. So he saw me, he came out to me, he talked to me, and I said, basically, it was just a quick conversation. I was like, "Are you in the lineup today?" Because I didn't check the lineup to see if he was in because he got hurt quite a bit that season. And he goes, "Yeah, I'm in the lineup today." And I'm like, "All right, well, hope you have a great game." And that's basically all it was. It was just something. But the cool part is it was at the stadium. It wasn't forced. It was just something that was, him and I were just on that same conference. Nobody else was talking to him. There was no line of people. It was just something real quick, instant. And that's kind of how I am. I'm not somebody who – I don't actually really want to go and meet him. It's not like I'm going to stand in a line and want to I collect all your baseball cards. The guy that knows this stuff. Honestly, I don't know how I'd feel about it if I was on the reverse side of it. You've got what of me? You're wearing his tie? I'm sure he'd love this tie. I mean, he did autograph it.
That's cool.
But no, for me, it's just I would like to meet him someday in a natural situation, whether it be like airport or something like just passing by. That would be the coolest for me.
Yeah. Well, that leads up to my second question is, so I think people who haven't met their player, they're kind of worried. What if I meet him and he tells me to screw off, or he's like a jerk, and then I've got 3,000 of his cards and I don't like him. So is that something you guys think about? If I don't want to meet him because it's going to ruin my personal collection, or does it not matter to you if he's a jerk?
Well, for me, it doesn't matter. First of all, I know Thomas isn't that kind of guy, so I would never have to worry about that because from all the stories I've heard, he's never done that to anybody from what I've heard.
Yeah.
But I'm not too concerned about it.
Yeah, and everyone knows Barry Bonds is pretty much the most friendly guy out there, and he's never done anything mean.
Never.
So.
Isn't he best friends with Jeff Kent right now? I think they're hanging out probably.
Yeah, I've definitely thought about that because people told stories about Bonds, and there's a biography out by an author named Jeff Pearlman. He wrote a pretty extensive biography about Bonds. He interviewed over 500 people since Bonds was a child. And if you're a Bonds fan, it's definitely a must-read book. It's called the anti-hero, love him or hate him. So I bought the book when it first came out in 2006. So there's good stories in there, there's bad stories. It's all candid, people running into him in different places. So I think, like I said, I think now post-retirement, I think he's a lot more mellow. I think anytime you start getting into your 40s and 50s, you mellow at least a little bit. So but I think the thing with Bonds, you can get in the whole psychology of it. He just wanted to be the best player possible. And I think sometimes he would kind of block people out in order to be prepared to play the game. So I wouldn't take it personally. Of course, you want to have a good experience, but I think you have to separate on the field and playing the game versus the personality of the person. I appreciate the talent he has, and I think that's what he's one of the best players ever play the game. So I collect because he's a great player, and I enjoyed watching him play, not necessarily because he's a saint off the field or something like that. Yeah.
Gotcha.
And that's, people who take things personally it might bother them if they had a bad experience. So that's one of the things that I was just wondering, if you met him and he was a jerk, would you just be like, he was just having a bad day and it is what it is? Because, a lot of people do take things personally, and they might be like, that was the worst experience ever, and I got 3,000 of his cards,
Yeah, I do kind of wonder, I've only had one chance I didn't meet Alex, he signed my program back when I was, 11 years old. So, that was cool. I would love to get a chance to meet him. Alex has definitely changed his image, as I think a lot of you know. Right now, he did a really cool interview with Bonds, by the way, not too long ago on his channel, which was really cool. And I learned something new about, the whole launch angle thing, coming down on the ball and eventually his swing flattened out. That was pretty cool to learn. And I think, if I ever met Alex, hopefully, like, Dan said, I'd love it to be natural. Just like, oh, hey, how you doing? Shake his hand, and don't just say, I collect all your Mariners cards. They're just talk about, life, for instance, like, what are you doing to teach baseball to kids? What's it like being an announcer? Things like that, I think would be fun, just to have a nice natural interaction with your player. And I was talking with Greg before the show. What do you think Tim Salmon would be like? I would like to think Tim would be a little bit different, because I don't think a lot of people are going to go up to Tim and go, hey, I collect all your cards. I think he might actually think that was kind of cool. Whereas like Frank and Barry and Alex, like, yeah, I heard that 100 times, whatever, so.
Yeah. From what I've heard, I guess, through the grapevine, is I heard Bonds does collect some of his stuff. So I think he would be interested. I think we all have some stuff of our player that they might not even be aware of that's out there.
Right.
So, yeah, as long as you don't overwhelm them right off the bat. But I think they would appreciate your collection.
Right.
I think players know that obviously there's income for them really on their collectibles. So I don't think they're that weirded out nowadays by it. I would hope that he would be impressed by my collection, I guess, is what I would think. I don't think it's that rare anymore that, people collect player stuff. That's just how it is. So hopefully it wouldn't be that odd.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, let's, we're kind of halfway through. Let's kind of move into a chance for you guys to, show off a few things that maybe have some stories attached to them. Greg, I'm going to move past number 5 because, that question was more or less for if they've met them. But the next one says, what kinds of trades have you guys, first of all, have you guys done any trades between the two of you that you can remember? And then if not, how many trades, or have you had any trades where like Ben has facilitated an awesome deal for Dan or vice versa? Has that happened?
Countless, yeah.
We could tell them about when we open boxes. No.
Well, back when we first started collecting that sophomore year, I remember I had a 1996 Pinnacle Slugfest, Frank Thomas. You might be familiar with that card. It has the gray Dufex insert in the background. Yeah. I got a box of Pinnacle for my birthday, and I pulled that card. And it was one of my treasured cards because it was one of the first big inserts really as a young kid I had, and ended up trading it to Dan. I don't think I was collecting Bonds cards just yet, but I remember facilitating that deal.
I can't remember what it was for exactly, but yeah, I remember getting that. And, that's one of those really early on transactions that, that Ben brought up that I kind of just dawned upon me right now. I was like, oh yeah, that was you. Okay. So, I mean, it's stuff like that there's been plenty of acquisitions that we've done, but like the coolest things I think we did was because Ben didn't get too many Thomas cards. I usually had everything he would have, and same with Bonds. I mean, I didn't get Bonds cards as much as as he would have, and so what we did was we had a lot of our players, so we're like, hey, we're going to make this interesting. Let's go to Target. Let's go to Walmart. Let's go to a card shop. So let's buy boxes or buy cards and stuff. And then if we pull our players, we just cough it over to that person, So and it's happened. We didn't hit anything real big, but we hit stuff that was, minor inserts, and then we just give each other those cards or the base card or whatever. It's made it more fun that way. It becomes you're kind of playing the odds a little bit, but when it came to Bonds and Thomas, they were kind of equally the same when it came to value anyways. So
we'd go to a lot of the local shops. I remember in 2001, we went to a shop in Milwaukee, and this woman, the owner, she had a box of 98 Topps Tech, open box and selling the packs. I remember we were drooling over that. I forgot what were the packs, like $7-8 a piece.
Yeah,
which was still kind of big money for us back then. We were broke college kids. Yeah. So, but we were like, oh my, you don't see 98 Topps Tech out in the wild very often, So that was a big deal, I remember. And yeah, early 2000s, there were still quite a few shops. So we'd spend Saturdays driving, in a 30-mile radius, going to all the shops and looking for cards, and that was still early eBay days, so it was still one of the routes we used to pick up.
And we were kind of lucky because we had a lot of card shops in the area too. So like when we were looking, we'd go to like 5 or 6 in a day and just spend the whole day just going out. And then a lot of times if I found a Bonds card, because we're kind of teaming up here, so I'm gonna try to find his player, he's gonna try to find my player. Well, we're still looking for our players, and that's kind of how trades would go down in that sense. But we didn't really trade. I can't really recall trading a Bonds card for a Thomas card.
Yeah, we did work a 3-way deal with Topps 85401 before the National. Yeah. So that's probably the one of the most recent trades. It was a 3-way deal. Was kind of cool.
Do you have the card there? The card that you ended up getting from the cards that you got?
Yeah. So, well, you probably don't have your 3.
I got a Derek Jeter. But,
so I had a Derek Jeter card that he wanted really bad. It's the 1997 Pinnacle Home die cut.
Oh yeah.
Ben wanted that, and then so then Ben, well, you want to tell him the story about where he found the Bonds reciprocal?
Yeah, well, let's start with the first card then. I was going to work this in the story here, is that we worked a 3-way deal. This is a card I picked up previously. I picked this card up twice, both times for $1 a piece. First time I got it was back in 2001, 2 years after the product came out. This was on eBay before people had to post pictures with all the auctions. So,
right.
A listing in Wisconsin in Oconomowoc, about an hour west of here. Seller listed 99 Ionics Techno Reciprocal. Didn't list that it was numbered to 100 or anything, but I knew what the card was based on the title, even though there was no photo. I ended up winning the card for 99 cents plus $3 shipping. So I got out my white envelope, put my $4 in there, and I sent it off in the mail to him. And as he did back in the day.
Yep.
So he didn't do SASC, he had to pay for the shipping. So that was a bummer. But so I ended up getting the card in the mail, and that's that. And just love those Ionics. I just love how gaudy and the kind of tech look.
Yep.
So yeah, the serial numbers are in the bottom. Yeah. So anyways, about 6 months ago, we were at a local Salvation Army show. And another one, I was digging through a dollar box, and all of a sudden I run into this card, and I'm like, oh my God, why this card's in $1? I have to take that out. That's going to my pile. I'll take that card. And I was just shocked at that card. I don't know. He must have not seen the serial number. And still a lot of people are not familiar with these 90s cards. So I picked it up for $1, and I got home, and I texted Topps 85401. Nate, I knew he needed the cards. I said, we're going to have to work a deal because I just picked up a second one. Yeah. Second time I got it for $1. And then I'll let Dan tell the second part.
So then Nate ends up going to I don't know if it was a stamp store, a coin store. I don't know what it was called, but he went to some store and he found the Kramer's Choice 1999 red, which is right here. He found this bad boy numbered. Let's see, I get it. Numbered
out of 25.
Yep.
Okay.
He found that. What do you say? $3?
$3.
So he paid $3 for this card. Okay. So of course Nate knows I'm a Thomas collector, so he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna save this for Dan," even though he posted it all over the marketplace. So
yeah, he did.
Thomas collector knows about it, and it's like, well, Nate, I'm glad you did post it because now you know who your true Thomas collector is.
Right.
But it was cool because now I've got a card Ben wants, and Ben's got a card that Nate wants, and Nate's got a card I want. So we can work this thing out, and that's what we did. When Nate came to visit for the Nationals this year, that was the first thing we did was we just said, okay, we're going to do this deal right now, and that's how it went down. Nate got the reciprocal.
That's cool.
I got the Thomas, and Ben got his Derek Jeter. So it worked out really good.
I remember Nate showing that card. He said he had it for a Frank Thomas collector, so I remember him showing that off on a video.
Yeah, so we know where 3 of them are because Alan Chen also has one. So there's 3 out there in the wild.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, I have to say that one of the best things about all this group is that kind of a thing. One of you found a card for somebody else, and then somebody else found a card for another collector. So we're all looking out for each other all the time. That is not something you're going to find everywhere with a lot of hobbies. So I think we're pretty lucky when it comes to that. You know what I mean? Because if Dan wasn't a nice guy, if Dan was kind of an a-hole or something, they're going to see that card and buy it for themselves and make money off it instead of like holding on to it for a collector.
That's what a lot of people do. Yeah.
So that's awesome. That's really cool. Yeah. Go ahead. You have to ask the next one, Greg. I can't wait for this story.
Talking about 7?
Yeah, I think are you up for that? Yeah.
Yeah. I see it here. I don't really know.
You want me to go with it? All right. So when we were all talking, Greg, last week, we were pre-gaming. I want to know, just pull out some cards and show them off. Tell the story behind them. I know you guys got some amazing stories behind some cards. I think you can read my mind and know which one I want to hear about first, and everybody has to hear about first. But Greg and I, we'll talk randomly throughout the week. We'll get on video chat, and he'll be like, "You're never gonna believe what happened when I found this card." And we'll just tell stories. And what kind of cards do you have that have some stories attached to them?
Yeah. So what was that kid's name again? Was that
Brad?
Okay.
All
right, here we go. There's a card shop not too far from where we live, and we frequent there quite often. And
about 2002.
Yeah, I'd say even earlier than that. I think we went there probably when we were juniors in high school, even. Because I remember. Yeah,
there's a card shop called Diamond Sports Cards, and it was run by a guy who was an accountant at his professional job. He had a 2-story house. Half the house was an accounting firm. The other half was a card shop. So he was open weird hours. He'd stay open late because he was working his other. And he also had an assistant who would work some of the store hours. We'd go there regularly to see what he had, what he picked up. And this was 2000. We had a driver's.
I would say 99, 2000. Yeah.
So we went there one afternoon, and this guy was known. He had binders of player binders.
And before we get too far, now I've been in the shop. We've been in the shop before, and we've gone through the binders before. We know what's in the binders and these inserts that we can't afford in these binders. And I was searching through Thomas the whole time, and I'm like, okay, I need a lot of these cards. And this Brad was working the counter, okay? And Brad basically said, just pick out any card you want out of the binder, and then I'll set a price on these cards. And so, okay, that sounds good to me. So I will go through the binder and pick all the cards. I don't care how crazy they look. I'm going to pick them out. So I pick them out. I'm going through them. And I picked out a good 30, I think it was like 30 or 40 cards, okay? And all of a sudden, these girls walk in, and there's about 3 or 4 of them maybe walk in, and they're looking smoking hot. Okay, so Brad's a little distracted right now. Brad is just off in his fantasy world that he thinks he's gonna get with these girls, because Brad was not a good looking guy. Okay, he looked like Ben and I probably.
Oh, wow.
So anyways, Brad's distracted, and to me, it feels like he doesn't want us in the store anymore. He's kind of pushing us along, and I brought my snack, to the counter. I'm like, well, this is what I want. And he's going through, he's rifling up $1, $1. And I'm like, oh, wow, some of those cards are really nice for $1. And then I'm like, okay. And then Brad comes to this card.
Let's go full screen here.
The Pinnacle Skylines. Okay. Brad decides to throw $1 on that card. And Ben, that's a really good price. I'm like, shut up, Ben. Let's go with this. And it was a stack of, like I said, 30 to 40 cards. And at the end of the stack, he goes, I think it was like $40, $45 for all of them. And I couldn't open my wallet up fast enough. I mean, we have some low-end 90s inserts that were in there. Some of the cards nowadays are probably like $5 or $10 cards. But back then, those were cards that were like $20 to $30 in Beckett value. And I think when we actually left the store, went to Ben's parents' house, and kind of like looked at what I scored, and I'm doing like a Beckett value, and it was like $450 worth of cards for $45 because Brad wanted some girl in the store that he couldn't buy. So it worked out perfectly. And I if I could have set up the situation, I would have hired these girls. Kind of knowing what I could buy.
Yeah, right.
But that's probably the funniest story we have.
Strategy. We need to hire women to come in.
Yeah,
so we can
yeah. Well, and now a year later, well, actually after that transaction happened, a year later, Ben and I are going to a card shop, which is right down the street from this other one, not too far, maybe like a mile or two. And Brad owns the card shop now. And we're like, what is going on?
He may have been unemployed after that transaction.
Yeah, right.
To be fair, it was a lot of Pokemon cards, so.
Wow. That's crazy, man. I just love that story too, because the 90s cards, even now, they somehow, you're still able to get deals on them even now with like the knowledge that's out there. Right. I mean, we all have cards that you look at and you go, gosh, I severely underpaid for that card, and that's just because there's still so much that people don't know about it. What about you, Ben? Do you have a card or any cards that just have a story associated with them?
Yeah, I'm like I said, back in the day, there was Beckett Marketplace. One of the other big auction sites was Yahoo Auctions. So I used Yahoo Auctions a lot in the early 2000s. I remember being in my dorm room doing searches for cards on Yahoo Auctions. And a lot of times, a lot of base cards, nothing too high end. But every once in a while, you get some good auctions. So I was looking through one day, and I saw a 2002 Donruss Elite status, serial number to 2000, or serial number to 24. This card popped up, serial numbers on the side there, and guy had a starting bid of $10. So of course I threw a bid on, and I ended up winning it for a starting bid, $10.
Wow!
So the traffic on that website was not very high, and I was able to score a great deal. And that was right around the same time the product came out. So people didn't, you're probably gonna get your best price for a card when it first comes out, barring it's not some big high-end release or something that everyone's after. So I was able to score a fantastic deal on that card back then, just based on it being a low-traveled area. And so I that's a clear memory of me getting that card for such a great price. And it's just Yahoo Auctions, I think, shut down in maybe 2006 or so. So, yeah, it's one of those sites, one of those avenues I used back in the day to pick up cards outside of eBay that's no longer around.
Yeah, if only we
Yahoo Auctions quite a bit.
Did you?
It was a good place to get cards.
Yeah, it's a really good deal.
Shipping was a little bit cheaper. Yeah.
I missed out on that, man. I remember like dabbling in it when I was collecting basketball for a little bit, but yeah, no, that's crazy. I mean, I guess that I don't even need to ask what's your best steal, because both of those cards are also probably your best steal in your collection. You know, like a card or the Onyx reciprocal. But
Ben's got some pretty good.
I have
better steals than I do. But
I was also on eBay late one night, probably around midnight or so, about 5 years ago. And sometimes a good strategy is to go on late at night if you can, because I work third shift semi-regularly. So if I have downtime, I go on eBay. And I was looking around and a card popped up, because sometimes you have the Japan sellers that will list cards early in the morning, which is probably, afternoon for them. Well, this card got listed, had a $15 buy it now on it, and I couldn't click it fast enough. And I was just overwhelmed by it. Obviously, the final numbers, this base card is only worth a few dollars. However, this is the serial numbered version to 10.
Yep.
And the seller had a $15 buy now on it. And I just jumped all over it, and I was so ecstatic to pick it up. I've never seen another one since that card has been up. So that was a great, fantastic deal for me.
Yep, that's incredible, man. That doesn't happen very often, but again, those Pacific cards, I mean, we all know every now and then, every time a base Pacific gets listed of like I need the parallel of that, and it looks pretty much similar, I immediately click on it and see, okay, did they forget to check the back? You know what I mean? Like they forget to see that it's the parallel that's like blue instead of, the regular base. So that's what I always enjoy searching for that. Yeah, exactly. What about you, Dan? You got any other any kind of steals, similar stories that go with that?
I don't got any really, really hard steals. The one that sticks out the most for me is I got a graded Top Stars Accolades. It's numbered to 49. It's the 4-star.
Oh, see, I didn't even know those existed, the ones out of 49. Nice.
Well, yeah. And you can't really see the number. It's embossed in the back. You can barely see it. I mean, but it's definitely numbered to 49. But yeah, this card, I mean, I think I paid like $15 for it.
Wow.
And the only reason why it was so cheap is because you could not see the embossed number to 49 on the back of it.
Yep.
And, I mean, this is I've been looking for this card forever. I didn't even know it existed really, because I've never seen a copy of it. I mean, you see checklists of it in there, but you never see it. So, oh wow, yeah, that's a good deal for that. And when I bought it at the time, I didn't really know if it had the serial number on it. So I was thinking, oh, maybe it was a bankruptcy card or something, because I couldn't tell from the auction it being numbered, and I didn't want to ask the seller, is that number to 49 on the back? Yeah.
All right.
So
that is, I mean, Greg, were you aware of that card? Because I have the one out of 99, and of course the emboss on it. Obviously that was something I had to find on eBay, but he had it listed correctly. But I kept looking at the auction, like, where's the numbering? I'm like, I don't see it anywhere on the card. And then I finally, thankfully you can zoom in on images on your phone. I grabbed my phone and I zoomed in all the way, and you could see the embossing. I think the foil just didn't make it in, right? Is that what happened with those cards?
I don't know what happened with that, but it had to have been something along those lines.
Because the gold labels are that way too, right? From that year.
Yeah, the gold labels do that as well. And it's so hard to see.
Yeah, and I believe one other set, a card that I love a lot actually is from Topps HD. From that, I think it's 2000. 2000 Topps HD. They have the same issue with them.
Oh, okay.
So,
yeah.
Those are really tough to find. Those, I think they're called platinums, right? The platinum out of 99.
You're right. The platinums. Yeah, I think I have it. I just can't. I guess I can't recall at the back if you can see it or not. But I think you're right. I think
it's not on mine, at least. I don't know.
You're probably right. I have to look at mine. I kind of forget.
The next question, I'll let Greg ask it, but we've talked about doing this before, Greg and I. So this is going to be a fun one. I think they have done this. So I think go for number 8, man. I think this is going to be a fun one.
Yeah. So you guys have obviously been collecting with each other for a while. Have you guys ever actually set up at a baseball card show?
No, we never set up at a show. I used to do quite a bit of selling on eBay during college, but never.
Who's ringing? There you go.
But I sold on eBay in the past, but we never set up at a show. I'm pretty much a collector and a buyer, and kind of I guess I'd be more of an accumulator. I don't sell much of anything. I guess if I needed the money, I guess I kind of fall into the baseball card junkie category, because now that I've accumulated so many Bonds cards, I have drifted off in other. Obviously, Bonds is my primary focus, but I also enjoy collecting 90s inserts of, Jeter, Griffey, other popular guys. That way, like you said, you can collect inserts of different cards that Bonds isn't featured in. So, I don't do much selling. I'm pretty much a buyer, and fortunately with my work, there's a lot of overtime, so it comes in handy to keep my baseball budget rolling.
Yeah, I mean, I don't sell to shows either, but at the Nationals, what I would do is I didn't do it this year because I pretty much knew who were all the heavy hitter Thomas guys they weren't there this year like they were previous years, but when there was a Chicago show 2 years ago, I brought a lot of my Thomas duplicates, and I had a lot of higher end stuff that year, and I ended up doing my own little wheeling and dealing with my set of cards. I didn't set up a booth or a table or anything like that, just because it's so expensive, and I want to go out and do my own thing at the Nationals too. So I would just go around just doing it that way and see if I could set up some trades or deals to get other Thomas cards. But I never really did sell it. So, but I remember, Greg, I showed you some of my cards this year at the show. I remember I brought some of my Thomas cards. I don't know if you remember, you searched through a bunch of them and stuff like that. But that was kind of like the kind of graded cards I would have of Thomas duplicates, and that's basically what I would bring to shows, or that I knew where Thomas collectors were going to be there, and
Yeah. Well, when I was a kid, I set up with my buddy Greg. He was Greg, and he was a Ray Ordonez fan, and I was a Frank Thomas fan. But we would set up and we would trade. We were probably 13, 14 years old. We were the youngest kids setting up at the show. Sure. It was all adults. And so we would trade a lot and sell. But I always, after the show, we would have like almost nothing left and just like a stack of money. And we would always be like, what have we done? We sold all of our cards.
Yeah. No, we got to start over.
So, yeah, we would start like all over. We wouldn't sell our good stuff that we wanted, but we would sell a lot of stuff and, restart the collection. So that was just something I was curious if you guys had ever experienced actually setting up at a show.
No, I never set up at a show. I had friends who did, but I never had anything great of any other player other than Thomas. So there was no reason for me to ever set up.
Matt and I were talking about setting up at like the National or something, and just putting all our cards out. And they're not for sale, not for trade.
Yeah.
You can just look at them.
Yeah. I mean, we've joked all the time. I mean, but it wouldn't be. Imagine how cool it would be. I mean, in a perfect world, right? If travel was so much faster, it'd be awesome to get like that group of us that were at the meet and greet. If we could all have a room to ourselves, like a nice big convention room, and get our stuff set out, knowing it was only those people, so nobody's going to come, steal your stuff, and just go around, appreciate everybody's collection, and like go up to Greg's booth and like, dude, you got the Red Crusade, like tell me about this, and like, well, let me tell you about the story of how I got this, rather than just going around like, oh yeah, there's a legacy there, there's an established there, like actually stopping and talking to the people, well, that's like just
great thing. I know it's in the Nationals conversation, but that was a great thing about the Nationals is what the meet and greet, when you're finding people that who collect the same era as you did, 90s inserts. I mean, that's basically what we're talking about here for the most part.
And hearing you talk about it.
Yeah, you can't talk like that to many people. They have no idea what you're talking about. 90s inserts, they're junk, aren't they? Well, no, not.
Right. Well, people there was plenty of at the Nationals. There was plenty of Jeter and Griffey. Everybody knows about those guys, though.
Well,
like, no matter what you have, but it's the other stuff. The cards that they didn't know about, that they don't know about.
And I know in other podcasts you were asking at the Nationals if we found any Crusades, and I actually did find probably the best Crusade at the Nationals. It was a purple Jeter at the Nationals.
That was probably at that table in the back right where he had. Yeah, that's the Nick who shows up once in a blue moon in the group. Is like, by the way, I got all these amazing 101 Jeters. All right, guys, peace. I'm out. You know, like
yeah. It's kind of like me and Thomas. All like, yeah, I got Thomas not for sale, but you can look at it. But no, yeah, so you know who I was talking about. That, yeah, I saw that. That was pretty cool to see a purple Jeter. I mean, so, you know, and fortunately for me, I mean, I got the Thomas right here, the Call to Arms purple.
Oh, yeah, baby.
You know,
we all love our Crusades on this episode. I mean, did you guys see the episode about it? Did you guys watch that?
Yes, I watched the episode, and congrats to you, Greg, for getting the Red Crusade. That's number one on my list, actually. So congrats to you for that, man. That's quite an accomplishment.
Speaking of number one cards, I have one that was on my number one want list for a long time that I finally picked up in 2012.
Let's see it, man.
There was a buy it now for $120. And, of course, I snatched up right away. This is
card back then. Okay, we're going to move on from that card. I'm kidding. That's beautiful, man. It hurts a little.
I haven't seen another Bonds listed since then. It's the only one I've seen. Number to 50, and I think that's on a lot of players' top want list because for some reason, they don't pop up a whole lot. I used to
ever.
The product wasn't opened as much.
Yeah.
But it's just I love the insert, and it was my number one for a long time until I finally found one.
Yeah. No, for sure. For sure. I really think there's a lot of boxes, lunch boxes, you know, sitting out and about. That card shop that I found in Washington had one up there, and I was like, oh, man. I wonder if I could get the price down on this just to see what's in there. I might, if it's still there next year, I'll go get it. I know some guy opened one. I think it was 3 years ago. I don't know if you guys remember this on Blowout. He opened it and there were two Griffey Quantums stuck together in the same pack. Yeah, man, nuts. I don't even know. I'd be shaking. You know, I'd be pissed that it wasn't A-Rod. I could care less, but. Anyway, Greg came up with. I think this is gonna be one of our last questions, but I'm really curious to hear about this. So go for it, man. I think we're on 9 now.
So do you guys? I know you mentioned it that you kind of motivate each other. Do other collectors motivate you as well to keep up? In what ways are you guys motivating each other? Is it you're looking at each other's collection and it motivates you? Like what? How does that work?
Well, I think now in the internet age, we have a Bonds collectors group on Facebook, so now I'm able to network with other Bonds collectors. So it's nice to show off what you have. Someone can appreciate your cards, and then certainly they keep you in mind for any duplicates or cards that they're aware of that you need. So that definitely comes in handy. Dan and I, we've been friends a long time, so. Now there's not as many shops to go to. We do go to local shows together, but I think both of us independently, we both collect regardless. I think it's just a bug that you can have, and that's something you do regardless. Right. I think, you know, even if he moved 1,000 miles away, I think we would still be collectors just because it's ingrained in us so much. I think you're born a collector or you're not. So it's always just kind of a bug you got.
Yep. Yeah, we stemmed off each other, like I said before. I mean, we've been fortunate to have in our area. We got a lot of places you can go. We had a lot of card shops. We had a lot of shows in different places. Even today, we have quite a bit of shows. You can literally go almost every Sunday to a card show within the greater Milwaukee area and find a show. You might not find quality there. But at least you'll find guys, you know, who are looking out for you, and they're always coming up to me and Ben saying, "Hey, we got this, we've got that. Do you need this? Do you need that?" And that you know, other guys looking out for us is the whole name of the game. I mean, once you get your guy out there who you collect and what you collect, you know, these guys. I mean, they're not just doing it to make a buck. They're also doing it because you know they're looking out for guys in the hobby. And they're having a good time because nobody's making a ton of money at this. You know, very few people are.
Right.
You know,
right.
Definitely. Well, and then I don't think any of us are the majority of us that we have on this show, none of us are really in it to make the money on the cards, and we had a really good discussion the other day. If our collections became worth nothing tomorrow at the snap of a finger, I think we'd still love them the same, for the most part. And that's what we're in it for. So, what's next, guys? I mean, like, what's looking forward, the next 2, 3, 4 years? What kind of collecting goals do you have for each of your collections?
More cards, more cards.
I mean, is there, we talked about this too, because when you get to have as many cards as you guys do, you don't really have like a top 10 list. You just kind of have an idea of cards that you would like. Do you guys have some specific cards you're looking for, or is it just like in your head, you just know which ones you don't have yet?
There's definitely, of course, it's all the big ones that a lot of 90s collectors want, like the 98 Crusade Red. Love to have that. Of course, probably the premier card is a 96 Select Certified Mirror Gold. I've never actually even seen a copy of the Bond, so there got to be some out there, but I've never even seen a scan of it. So that would probably be my number one, just because how elusive it is. But then there's some lower end cards, like we talked about the 97 Top Stars Always Mint parallel. That could be a $5 card. I just can't track one down. So yeah, there's a lot of big cards, some PMGs I still need. So yeah, just keep tracking, looking on eBay, and just keep adding to the collection as they go along. So that's pretty much my plan for the next few years, is just to keep adding what I can when it comes available.
And I'm kind of the same way. I don't have a list of that I got to have them. Yeah, there's a lot of wants. Like Brent said, the Crusade Red, like everybody's got that same one they want and trying to go after. And it's great and everything. I don't have to have it. It's not like, oh, I'm going to have it. I'm going to trade stuff for it. No, I don't have to have it. I want it. The thrill of the hunt and the search is what I'm all about. Mm-hmm. Eventually, it'll happen one day, hopefully. If it doesn't, it doesn't. It's just how it is. And for me, I was able to get my Holy Grail, and it's not as rare as a card. And we talked about it earlier. It's not that it's hard to get. It's expensive to get nowadays. But when I got it, it was at a $400 label, and I could afford it. And because I'm handy and I know how to do electrical work, I'm an electrician, I was able to barter some work from this guy who's a card shop owner, who actually called me up to say he found this. But this is the no name.
Yeah, nice.
Number, graded to 8.
I was really hoping you could somehow work that card into a story before I told you, show off the no name.
So yeah, I mean that was my Holy Grail, and I got that, and I'm not gonna try to pick another Holy Grail, because once you get your Holy Grail, your white whale, that's, for me, that's it. Now it's just get what you want, have fun with it. There are tons of 90s inserts that I need that are so rare that it's going to be tough to get. But now that I know I got mine, I'm happy with it. And that's basically where I stand with that.
It is pretty funny too. You have a chance at some point to ask these guys, Greg, if we ever connect again, you'll bring up like a random insert that you and I both have or parallel, and Ben or Dan's like, oh yeah, I don't have that one yet. You're like, how is that even possible? Like, your collections are so huge, and yet they're still chasing, cards that,
right.
And I think part of that too is I wonder, when your collections are that big, sometimes you target like the big cards, and you'll miss 3 of the Pacific inserts that never show up, that happen to show up that week, but then they go right past you because you're so focused on, like a big card.
I think that's the beauty of the 90s, though, is that if you're not, obviously you learn something every day about these cards and the parallels and the intricacies of them. So I think you can go a long ways looking for cards and not finding them. So like you said, if you're not super familiar with a certain release, there can be parallels and inserts and things like that you're not familiar with, and it can take you a long time to track something down. And I don't think you can find that in any other era cards. Back before the 80s, everything was pretty much base cards, and it was all about condition. Now it's about rarity, and even if a card's numbered to 99, I guarantee you there's not 99 examples still floating around out there of that card. So you have to take that into the consideration too, that if there's 50 cards printed, you have to understand that probably at least maybe 10% or so have been destroyed since then. So there's no way to ever inventory exactly how many of these cards are really out there yet.
Right. Well, shout out to Collector's Choice Prime Reserve on that example. Man, I feel so fortunate. I've seen one for sale, and I own one, so it's just crazy that those there's definitely not 100 of those, or the StarQuest Gold. There's no way 100 of those exist out there in the world. There's no way. So
weird,
oh, check it out. He does have it. Look at that, man.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, talk about rarity and odds of pulling one, and I know I've bought tons of packs of Collector's Choice back in the day when that's all you could afford, and I never pulled anything. I never poured a 4-star or a gold or anything. I think that just goes to show the odds of pulling these rare cards and the long odds and how much product was made of that stuff.
Right. I still haven't seen a 96 gold signature. Go ahead, Greg.
That's where all our, like, you guys and me are different. It's like all of you have your Prime Choice Reserve, right? Everybody's got them. Yeah. And so I've never seen a salmon. I can't find one anywhere. I can't even find a picture of it. But I have the Mirror Gold 96 Select. And none of you guys have the Mirror. So it's like I can't find the Easy card, and you guys don't have access to like the rare one. So it's like we're switching roles where I would love to have a Prime Choice Reserve, and it's not even an expensive card for my guy. It's a cheap, probably $10-$20 card that I've never seen, and I can't find it anywhere. So it's frustrating that those are the types of cards that I can't find because nobody posts them.
Yeah, that is kind of crazy. It's funny how that works out like that, though.
Well, it's definitely a different mentality too. You know what I mean? Because like a Prime Choice Reserve showing up for him is like, you know, my number one card showing up for me. It's just they just don't show up ever. You know, and that raises the question, why? You know, somebody's got to have a salmon Prime Choice Reserve and a dollar box floating around, if not 5 or 6 of them, but they have no clue that that's the card, you know? So hopefully someday we're planning on trying to meet up and go to some card shops, and hopefully we can just have some fun digging through the boxes and maybe something will show up. But it's like finding a needle in a haystack, whereas like a Prime Choice Reserve, a Bonds or Frank or Alex, that's going to get listed because people know they're going to make money off the card, you know?
Right. But yeah, there's so many gimmicks from the 90s. Like you said, you had lunch boxes. Of course, we talked about 97 Pinnacle Inside had the cans that you had to open.
Yeah, to get those.
It was a Dutch edition. Like I said, I've opened probably close to 80 cans in the last 2 to 3 years because I couldn't find this card for anything online. And finally one popped up for $60 buy now, and I was all over it. But I remember I would buy cases of this, 20, 30 cans at a time, and I'd sit there in my living room cracking them open, didn't pull a single. I didn't pull Todd Hollandsworth. I didn't pull anybody. So I think it's listed 163 cans, and based on the odds, I should have pulled at least one.
I mean, between you and I both, we should have pulled one.
But it just goes to show how many of those cans got destroyed, how many people have their favorite player in the can and they don't want to open it, so it's sitting up there with a diamond edition, and it'll never be opened because they don't want to open their favorite player's can. And
that's me.
I do Bonds too, man.
I do wonder how many of those are actually printed. You know, those are pretty rare cards. I know Greg thinks that's his favorite Tim Salmon picture on any card ever, right? He's always hating on it, dude. It's funny. He's like taking a picture or something, right? Like it's like a lame card or something. It's so funny.
It's like Salmon's got a camera and he's taking a picture.
But see, that's why those diamonds are so cool, because they have such like the most ridiculous photos on them. You know, like Alex is biting his necklace. Like it's just such a what does Frank's look like? What does Frank's diamond look like?
I think he's just sitting down. He's not. I don't have it. But I'm trying to picture the base right now, and he's not really doing much of anything. I think he's just sitting down, kind of thing. It's not like it's not like an action shot or it's something real boring and blah. It's not even like an action swing or it's just something boring.
Right. Well, before we get to the showcase part of the episode to end, I think it's been really fun for me. And Greg, I'll let you talk about it for a minute. I think it's really fun for me to see two super collectors who could easily just be like, it's just about the number. It's just about adding to the number. But two super collectors who, have been friends for so long and still have a big love for a hobby. That just goes to show that I don't think it ever leaves, no matter what level of collecting you're at, whether you're excited about picking up a new $2 insert, which is perfectly fine. I think it's great. I think there's plenty of people like that out there, which is cool. Or whether you're, 5,000, 6,000, 10,000 cards into a collection that you can still, find a lot of enjoyment out of it. So that's been good and cool for me to learn.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah.
So we like to, did you have something, Greg, before I move on?
No.
Okay. We like to end it, obviously, as all the people that are watching know, we like showing off something cool that we picked up since the last episode. And I know you guys brought out a nice stack of cards, so we're gonna make this like a hybrid type thing. Before we get into like a recent pickup, is there a couple cards that you guys just absolutely love in your collections that you brought out? Want to show?
I think Dan's got a nice stack here. So
I'm gonna show him the one that I like. That I guess you can. It wasn't recent, but
that's okay. Let's show off. I mean, you got out all the cards. We might as well let you show off a few cards, right?
Yeah. So I've got the 2004 mahogany.
Rich mahogany.
Yeah, it's numbered to 40. This is tough. I mean, I don't know anybody else who has it right now.
I don't even know about that card, so this is the first time I've ever seen it.
Sorry, it's numbered to 25. I said 40. Yeah, it's numbered to 25. Yeah, it doesn't show up ever, and that's one of my favorites, the Topps Heritage. Well, when we go through you go now.
Okay, I didn't pull a huge stack. I've kind of gone through a lot of my favorites. There's another kind of underrated one, the 97 Fleer Team Leaders. However, this one is the one with the tabs on the end. If you see his hat and his shoulder stick out further.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, so it's die cut then a little bit.
Correct. So what happened with this is that Fleer was getting complaints, or they realized that these tabs on the end of the card were being damaged while being inserted into the packs. So they quickly stopped making these versions with the tab that they're called.
Okay.
So if you look at most of the Team Leaders, they don't have these tabs on the end. I was able to pick this copy up at the National in 2014 for $2. And so a lot of collectors aren't familiar with that version, and so that's something that can get looked over and go through a dollar box real easily. So that's another thing you kind of learn along the way about some of the variations. So that's a perfect example.
And then some other ones that you guys are really familiar with are the bankruptcy ones.
Oh, those are beautiful. Did you get those recently too? Because all of them just kind of popped up.
No, these I had for a while. So
Okay.
I was able to get these a while ago. And then this is 5-star. And then it's numbered to 50, so 25 and 50. Yeah, I love this card too. Even though this one's probably the harder one to get, I think. I just love how it pops. Live in person, it really pops really, really well. And I really enjoy that card. As Ben's searching for something right now, obviously the established. I mean, everybody is always looking for the established. Thomas is just another beautiful card. Even the girls that I've dated were like, "Wow, that's a really nice card." I'm like, "Yeah."
Yeah. You can't go wrong with the rainbow foil.
I love is the established.
Well, isn't it funny? Like when people come over, like if a girl comes over and you show her the collection, the room, like you have a pretty nice man cave.
Yeah.
And they go, "Ugh." It's like, well, you're out.
I don't care. Screw you.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
But here's two cards that unfortunately Bonds wasn't in that we were kind of talking about. Oh, and I wish my player was in these sets, and I kind of don't. I don't know when it comes to your players if the ultra talented.
I'm waiting for one to show up, dude.
Okay,
I'm waiting for one to show up.
Ultra talented, obviously, it's numbered to 99.
Those are impossible to find. I have not seen one listed since the National. Not one.
And then I don't know why Bonds wouldn't be in this one either. This is crazy to me. But Intimidation Nation.
Yep.
I mean, Bonds was pretty intimidating. Why he isn't in that?
And he was excluded out of a lot of 99 stuff, like the holographics. I mean, everybody. Yeah, that's probably the biggest one for me. I don't understand why he's not there.
And then, I mean, is Bonds in this?
No.
Yeah, see, it's another. I can't believe this, but the starring role.
Yep.
Like, why he's not in that? It's just insane.
And then I think another car that I'm kind of going outside the 90s a little bit here, but obviously Heritage didn't take off until 2001, so it's toward the tail end of the era.
Right.
This is an 06 Heritage Black Refractor, and I have to show this because the Black Refractors are so beautiful. I mean, this is a great card. This is the second year before he retired. So I just have a thing for the Black Refractors. This is serial number 256. Yeah, nice. This popped a few years ago, and I had to have it.
The background looks really good on those for sure. Like the field behind him, the way it refracts, looks really nice.
Any black bordered card, always good looking.
I pulled a Bonds refractor out of Heritage at Cracker Barrel.
No way. You still have it?
Pretty cool.
Heritage
I traded it.
You traded
a year ago.
Oh, did you? Okay. That's pretty cool, man. Getting a refractor. I mean, anybody that's open 90s or early 2000s, the refractor is like 2 per box, and the sets are usually like 200, 300, 400. So to pull somebody that's like decent is pretty dang nice for sure.
Yeah. And then another cool one that I love is the Donruss Long Ball Leaders die cut.
Seasonal sums.
It's number to 43.
Nice.
Die cut too, huh?
Yeah, those are tough. I've only seen a few, maybe 1 or 2 other than mine. And I think some guys in the Thomas group have one. But then obviously Central Credentials.
Wow, I've heard of those somewhere before.
Yeah. They come up every now and then, huh?
Yeah, so I missed out on the A-Rod years ago, and I just have totally
it's a great title for a podcast.
I think it's you get all the credit goes to that guy down here. This guy, he came up with the name.
I don't know. I know Bonds is in this. I know you have it. I think you have it.
I don't have it.
You don't have it? Okay. Well, I know Ben always wanted this card. He always talks about it, and this is the Absolute 2001 home opener series.
Good Lord, look at those packs.
So there's a lot going on in this card. Basically, I love this card not only because it's just an awesome looking card. It's numbered to 25 as well. But on the back it says for the stats, it says Thomas's open day home run. So he hit a home run at Comiskey Park, and it was a sellout crowd because it's opening day. Just that he hit a home run on opening day, and then you got the base and the card with it. I think that's just an awesome card to have.
You know, something's going through my head right now. Like, I hear you guys saying, like, my guy's not in that set, my guy's not in that set. Greg's like, yeah, my guy's in none of those. So thanks, guys.
Yeah. All right, Greg. I mean,
oh, look, wait, there it is. You actually have it? I didn't know you had it. Okay. Look at that.
That's a camera?
Let's get a picture of Sam and take a picture.
Yeah. So I got a question, Greg. Did you pass on that card prior because you hated the picture so much, or did you just get it knowing it was rare?
It was one of those things where I had seen it on eBay and I was like, yeah, I need to get it, but not today. And then I think something happened, like people were posting them on Facebook, and like suddenly it was like a surge, and I was like, okay, now's the time. So it's like one of those things, like if you have it and you have it and you have it, then suddenly I really want it. And so it turned into that where like I pulled it. It was like I think $15, so I went ahead and pulled the trigger, and that was it.
And that's happened to you guys, I'm sure too, because Greg and I for sure. Greg will be like, "Hey, did you know about this?" Or Alan will post a specific, like a specific parallel that looks really cool. Like, oh crap, I don't have that A-Rod. Has that happened with you guys where Dan will pick up a card or Dan will get a card, and you're like, now I need to go find that?
Yeah, no, it does. It happens a lot actually. Unfortunately.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, I know, right? Because like, my bank account's doing great. Oh, wait, no. Greg just picked up this incredible salmon parallel I didn't know about. Well, time to go find A-Rod. And, of course, it pops up for, $50. I'm like, oh, great, speaking of pickups, so let's go to that because we have to end with Greg. I think we all know why. But have kind of like a top 15 list that I kind of update. I have a want list that I keep updating, but in my head, I kind of have a visual of these cards that I've seen, I've missed out on, that I want to pick up. And I finally was able to find a refractor that I've been looking for a while. So I was able to find from 2000 Chrome, or Topps Chrome, the Chrome Kings refractor. My camera's going to grab it or not. There we go. And some of the players are all numbered differently, and I'll have to look into why that is. But this one is numbered out of 148.
Okay.
So A-Rod is one of the hardest to find. I know Vlad Guerrero, I think, is only numbered to 70 or something. What's funny is I think Frank's not in this set, but Barry is in this set. And the Bonds is numbered a lot higher, so easier for you guys to pick up. But I've ever seen one of these, and it only went for like 20. So I was thinking, this will be cheap. No, I had to pay way more than that for this one because there was some guy out there that bid a ridiculous amount at the very end. So, but I wanted it, so I bid high and got it. There's always one guy, man, but I'm sure he's bummed, or they're bummed they didn't get it. But for either of you, before we get to Greg, have either of you in the last month or so picked up anything that you'd like to show off? Last couple months?
Unfortunately for me, I haven't picked up anything worth really mentioning in a while. So I'm gonna go to the biggest card that I picked up, and it's been a while now, but it's worth showing.
Okay.
It's gonna be the SP Game Used Patch Edition, 2004. It's the Hall of Fame.
Wow, look at that
Patch, numbered the 10 auto.
Nice.
And because I've always wanted this card so bad, and it took me so long to acquire it. That was probably my biggest pickup, and I haven't really been able to outdo it for a while now. So I just wanted to show that one as my most recent awesome pickup.
That thing is amazing. I love the way the patch is the O on Hall of Fame. That's a pretty sweet set.
That's a beautiful.
I'd say
card.
Something also I haven't picked up recently, but I would say a card that kind of underrated. Talk about parallels and things that get lost in the mix. At 1995 Upper Deck, Electric Diamond Gold version. Now these were seated 1 in 36 packs, so one per box. And of course, you have the entire set of all kinds of common players. Kind of like the back photo better than the front. But, I busted packs of that back in the day, and I never pulled the gold. And that was on my radar for a long time. I finally found a copy. So if you do the odds on trying to pull a specific player from that set, becomes long odds. And I think, again, that's a parallel that gets lost in the mix because people don't realize there's a gold version of that issue.
I have a question real quick. Isn't that, now correct me if I'm wrong, isn't that the 94 Upper Deck, or is that the 95?
No, it's the 95, yeah.
Okay, so A-Rod's got I think the 94 version, that's Electric Diamond. It's like a sideways card. It's blue in the background. I have never, ever seen the gold Electric Diamond. I didn't think they existed from those 2 years, honestly. I thought they were a myth. I have never seen one on eBay. And if they're only 1 out of 36, I'm thinking an A-Rod's got to pop up eventually. I've never seen one. Only the silver Electric Diamond.
Yeah, 94 just had Electric Diamond. 95, I believe, was the only year they had a gold version because 96.
Okay.
96 didn't even have Electric Diamond, I don't think.
Okay, so 94 only has the silver, right? They don't have the.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, that's all we have time for, guys. I'm just kidding. Greg, have you picked up anything recently worth mentioning by any chance?
Yeah, a pretty big one right here. So I did a bounty, and I didn't think anything would come of it. I was kind of on the fence about even doing a bounty message because then it just brings attention to the card, and I was kind of on the fence. But I posted on Blowout my top 4 cards that I wanted, and I offered a bounty if anybody found them. Somebody messaged me and said, hey, I don't even want the bounty. I just want this to go to a salmon collector because obviously you're going to enjoy it more than I am. So I made him an offer, and he said, whoa, that's too much money. Like, take $25 off. And so I was like, okay. So I did, and I got it. So here it is.
Oh, yes.
You've been X.
Oh,
I knew it was coming.
nice. All right, now we're going to end the episode with that. Yeah, let's see it, dude. Come on.
Just kidding. Just kidding. Here it is.
Oh, nice.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
That is a white whale.
That is definitely a white whale for me. There's no doubt.
Yeah, we'll all agree with that.
You know, I have a good story with this. A feel good story. The guy didn't want a bounty. He took $25 off, and he wanted it to go to a good place.
Yeah.
So this is just a feel good card, and
that's a great action photo of him too.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah,
that's amazing.
So
I mean,
I'm happy to have this card, and I'm happy that it came with good juju on it. So it's just.
Congratulations on pulling that and getting that.
No, I remember telling Greg I would be just as excited for him finding that as if I found my number one card. And he totally messed with me. He's like, hey, do you want to talk? I'm like, normally I ask him if he wants to chat. So I'm like, yeah, sure. And he's like, well, I got a couple things in the mail. And he reaches over and then pulls that card out. And he has my reaction recorded too. I was shocked. I couldn't believe it, man. But you guys know how that is. I mean, if one of you were to pick up one of your white whales, I mean, you're really excited for your friend. I mean, that's what this is all about. You know, you can't be selfish all the time. You have to be able to have an appreciation for your friends picking up cards that they've been after for a long time. And so I was over the moon for him, man, because in my mind, I'm like, that card's never going to show up. That card's never going to show up. And I think what you told me, Greg, is that was the same card because you torture yourself and you go on, check out my cards and look at sold listings. Don't know why anybody would do that. But that was the one that had sold recently or in the last couple of years on COMC.
It had sold on eBay. I looked on PWCC. It sold on eBay, and then it sold on COMC. So it was just floating in rotation. It was the one 24 karat that just kept floating around, and it ended up here. So
right. Yeah. Where are the other 23 of them at?
That's the second question, man.
Yeah. You know, how is another one never showing up? How? Even if it's Tim Salmon, that card is so beautiful. People have to know what they have. People have to know. There's no way that's in a dollar box, right? It can't be.
I don't think so.
Hope not.
That would be insane to find that. But well, hey, guys, it's been a pleasure to have you on the show.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah,
it was really enjoyable to hear all your stories. I know everybody on the podcast is going to enjoy it, and I'll let Greg speak for himself. But for me, I hope that we're able to connect again at another national or something, or in some way, because it was a lot of fun. It went by so fast, but I think my next national, I'm going to be a little more calmed down. I know what to expect, and maybe appreciate the connection with people a little bit more. So, yeah.
I also appreciate you guys coming on, especially Frank Thomas Collector. Love my Franks. But no, for real, both of you guys. I enjoyed talking to both of you guys, and it was good to meet up with you at the national. So I do appreciate you coming, and hopefully we can meet up at another national.
Yeah, I feel the same way, Greg. And man, it was nice meeting you guys at the meet and greet. That's the best time when you start meeting with people and you get to know people and who they collect. And now we're friends now. And thanks for having us on your podcast.
Yeah, absolutely. It'll be great to meet up again, and it's always a good time talking cards. So it was a pleasure for us.
Well, thanks, fellas. Appreciate it. So for everybody watching, thanks again for checking this out. It was awesome to do it live earlier in the day instead of late when Greg is half asleep on the podcast. So, but yeah, thanks for watching, everybody. And tune in next week. We've got two people one coming back, Rodney, who's been on a couple times, and we've got Eric Johnson, who hasn't joined us before. They're going to join us for some interesting rundowns on some other sets and some executive proofs and things like that. So hope you come and check it out. So take care, everybody. Thanks for watching.
See you later.